Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm breezing through and showing how I use my Project Pan products. This is my go-to look, and I can do it consistently and fairly efficiently on mornings when my 2-year-old sleeps past 6:30. If he does that, then I can be ready for the day before he's up and ready to do anything. Here we're going to jump right in with the Calvin Klein CK1 in Ivory. I wanted to start with this foundation. I have 3 in my project pan for this year, but I wanted to start with this one because it's the oldest. It smells so good still. So I just use my hands to blend it in around the face, and it's just a matter of time and efficiency. I like to use my hands because that's the quickest. Once I've got that blended in to my liking, I move on to my concealers. I like to switch between the light and the fair in the Maybelline Fit Me. But right now I'm pretty pale because it's winter, so I am using the fair, and I put it around the face in places that I feel need just a little extra coverage. The middle of the forehead I do because I like that it highlights it a little bit, and it just seems to bring balance to the face because I've used it in other places. Around the nose, women often have hormonal discoloration, and I am no exception. So I'm just blending that in with my e.l.f. brush, and I go around the jawline and, of course, around the temples where I've corrected some discoloration, and also my dark circles under my eyes because I should get more sleep. My excuse is that I have 4 kids, and so there's not really any other time of the day where I can do some of the things that need to get done, but the truth is I am just really bad at going to bed. I find things to do and I get distracted, and I should just go to bed earlier. So once I've got that all blended into my liking, I just use my finger and I pat it in. The warmth from my finger I feel like helps really blend it in and mesh it with the skin. Then I grab my Rimmel Stay Matte pressed powder, and the places that really need help staying put during the day, I pat it on, and then the rest of the face I kind of sweep it over. You'll notice, or maybe you won't notice, but you should notice, I'll draw your attention to the fact that I didn't really take the powder under my eyes, and that's because they're pretty dry under there and I don't want it to look cakey. So I'm going to use my blush in Velvet Rope from Lorac and just go across the cheekbones. I also take it up around the temples and on the forehead a little bit. I've heard that that's called draping. I don't know if that's exactly what I'm doing. I just realized that it mimics my natural coloring, so I like to do that. Now with my NYX contour palette and my e.l.f. complexion brush, I go into the color that I put in there as a replacement for the darkest shade. It's called Nude Tude. And I just go around the perimeter of the face and go a little bit under where my blush placement was. Just add a little bit more depth to the coloring on the face. And again, just mimicking the natural coloring. That's why I go across the tip of my nose. When I'm outside, that's one place that gets sun and is noticeable. So now with my Party Queen Makeup Tapered Highlighter, I'm going to go into the highlight shade, the cream highlight shade in the NYX Contour Palette, and go up around the highest part of my cheekbones. And again, kind of going in a C shape above the outside of my eyebrows. I don't go in the middle of my forehead because I have combination oily skin and I don't need any extra help shining there. I like to go over the Cupid's bow, and I just kind of build it up around the cheekbones until I'm satisfied with the color there, and then I'll take it between my eyes, on my nose, and just at the tip a little bit. Then I move on to my eyebrows. It's the Benefit Gimme Brow Volumizing. It's got little fibers in it, so it does help volumize a little bit, and it grabs onto the hairs that you already have. It was really hard to do it one-handed. I'm not used to holding a mirror in one hand while I do my brows with the other hand, so I had to wipe it off in a few places. If my brows are sparse in one place, I'll rub the spoolie backwards in that place, and then I'll brush it out again. I have fairly full brows I have to pluck even at this size, and so I don't need much filling in. Now I'm going to move on to the Urban Decay Original Primer Potion, and I just use my fingers to wipe that all over the lid, all the way up to my brows, in my inner tear duct and in the outer corner as well. My under eyes are dry, but my eyelids, the mobile lid, is quite oily, so I need the primer potion. Plus I have hooded eyes, so I really need that to help the shadows stay where they should. Now I've got my another Party Queen, a blending brush. Whoa, did you see all that powder? It took me by surprise. But I'm just using that cream matte shade to set the primer potion to make it ready for the transition color that I want to use. I'm realizing that the blush that I chose, it's a domed shadow, so it's going to be hard to see really a lot of progress on it. So I decided to start using that as a transition color, and I really like it. I like how it complements my green eyes, and I like that it ties in with the blush, and it makes everything really a cohesive look. Now I usually look straight ahead in the mirror so that I can see where I'm placing my shadow, because with hooded eyes it's difficult to tell where things actually are if you look down or you stretch your eyelids in any particular way, because when you open your eyes you see a lot less than when they're closed. And so holding the mirror in front of me, it made it a little bit of a challenge, and it was something new to learn and to figure out how to be able to see the way that I needed to be able to get the placement right. I'm just following along the occipital bone and taking it up higher than that, really kind of blowing it out. And then I'm filling in the outer corner here to try to give my eyes a little bit of shape. I feel like my eyes are a little bit narrow set, so I like to do all the little tips and tricks that you can do to help visually pull your eyes apart and give them a little bit more width between them. I'm just blending that out a little bit. Here we go. Oh, lost the brush. Now I'm going into the color Sultry, and I'm going to use that same brush for a minute, but I'm keeping things a little bit lower here. So I'm going back along the occipital bone. I would call it the crease, but my crease is a lot lower than that because that's how my eyes are shaped. And so I'm following and just staying a little bit lower, adding a little bit of depth with that color. I really like this color. I'm going to go in, I think, with a different brush in just a second to help deepen that up, but I'm really focusing lower. You can see that I'm not going up above the bone. I stay right underneath it. Here we go with the Party Queen makeup, the small tapered blending brush, and I'm going to deepen up just a little bit before I move on to a deeper color. So right now I'm just concentrating that color, but here we go in with the color Sexy, and I'm going to deepen that up just a little bit more. It just gives a little bit of depth, and it helps give the illusion that my eyes aren't as hooded as they are. Not only have I always had hooded eyes, but I'm also, as you age, generally hooded eyes become more hooded, and so that's something. The skin is a little bit looser and it's a little bit more mobile as you're working with it. So try to be gentle with the skin as I go, and I like to do all of the things that help give the illusion of a little bit less of the hooded appearance. So that's why I'm deepening up that contour area. Going back to that previous brush, the bigger blending brush, I'm without adding any extra product, I'm just kind of blending those colors together and helping to blow it out a little bit, and then taking it under the lower lash line as well. Most of this that's sped up is about double time, just so that this video doesn't take forever. Now we're going to move into Selfish and Standoffish, and I'm mixing the two of these together. I really like both of these colors in and of themselves, but I decided to mix it, and I actually didn't love the mix of the two of them. I don't feel like it has the impact that I was hoping it would. It was nice enough, and it brightened up the lid, which was the intent. I just feel like I like Selfish on its own more than I like the two of them mixed together. So I'm just trying to kind of build that up. It probably would have helped to have a setting spray of sorts to help make it a little bit punchier, but I'm going back to that bigger tapered brush and just blending those together and kind of bringing back that crease color. And now I'm just taking, this is a brand that I found on Amazon. I'll have everything linked below. It's called Cinity, and it has a ton of little brushes in there. And so this is just, I think it's a lip brush actually, but it's perfect for putting colors in the inner corner of the eye and under the eyebrow. This color, I believe it was Sassy, really, really pigmented, very shiny, which is why I blend it out with my fingers so that it's not overkill. Here's the MAC 266 synthetic small angle brush. You can see that I realized that I hadn't been doing that the whole time, so I start to tell you what the brushes are. So I'm just going back in with Sexy, and lining right next to my lash line. I don't have a lot of lid space, and especially when I open my eyes, there's not a lot of lid space, so I don't want to take that up with liner. So I just go from the highest point of my mobile lid right next to my lash line. When my eyes are open, the highest point of my lid, I go from there and then go outward and kind of make a wedge to help lift the outer corners of my eye up. I don't have downturned eyes, but with the hooded eye, sometimes the way that the skin folds can bring the outside of the eyes down. And I really like the look of a lifted outer corner, so this helps with that. Adding a little bit to the bottom lash line to help it be cohesive. We're going to go back in with that blending brush, the tapered blending brush, and meld that all together. Here's the clean one that I used to put on that base color to set the primer. And I'm just going back and blending between the highlighter and the outside of the Lorac blush color, just to make sure there are no harsh lines and everything is blended together nicely. The IT Cosmetics Hello Lashes 5-in-1 Mascara. I really do like this. I don't know that I'm crazy about the little ball on the tip, but it doesn't bother me. It's not a problem. I do like how long it makes my lashes. I enjoy that. And I think it gives a nice color, and I don't notice that it flakes or falls off during the day. I don't have any black left on my face at the end of the day, so I really appreciate that. I have several mascaras just waiting in my backup drawer for me to use. I have a habit of forgetting when I opened a mascara. I tend to have several open at once. And part of that is because I like different finishes or different colors, whether it be waterproof or black and brown or very black or whatever the differences may be. But also I just like to experiment with lots of different mascaras. So I have several waiting to be used, but I forget when to move on. Here's the Tarte Quick Dry Lip Paint. This one didn't have a color listed on it, so I'm not sure which color it was. Again, it's a deluxe size, so I'm just trying to use it up. It's actually fairly dry, so it was a little bit difficult to get out of the tube, which is good news for Project Pan because that means I can use it up quickly. And I do like the color. I like how it played off of the rose tones in the transition color from the blush. So there you have the look. So awkward to pose. And there's the finished look. That's what I do to use my Project Pan items. I like to incorporate a lot of the different things in a lot of the different places. I have really enjoyed being able to use the blush in my crease and kind of blend all the colors together. I like how it makes my eyes pop with the rose against the green. And I'm really enjoying all of my Project Pan stuff. When I start to get a little bit bored, I grab another eye palette. Usually it's the eye palette that I venture out of. And so I'll grab another eye palette and add a pop of color or just use a different palette altogether. Usually I add in a crease color or something from my Project Pan things. But I hope you enjoyed this, or it was informative, or maybe you can relate. I know that Kelly Gooch, I think that's how you say her name, also one of the first palettes that she ever panned was the Nude Tude. And I had decided to do that before I had seen her videos, but it was interesting to watch her talking about what she does with all of the different colors, and I found that I do a lot of those same things. I've never used the color, that brown color, Sultry. I've never used Sultry as like a contour. I don't think my skin coloring is quite right for that. It would be a little bit muddy on me, I think. I'm fairly pale, so it wouldn't complement my skin tone as well as I think it probably did hers. But I've had a really good time and I'm enjoying doing Project Pan, and I hope you will join me again. Thanks so much for coming and for staying with me through this. I hope you have a good week. Bye.